What's up, YouTube? Sam Animations back at it again with a IRL face video. You know, I don't really do these all too often, but I feel like this time is a little bit of a special occasion. One, if you guys noticed, my YouTube channel intro just got updated. I wanted to redo it. I wanted it to look flesh. I wanted it to look fresh. I just updated it from the intro that I did in Pivot. Now I did it with After Effects and Toon Boom, and it's pretty cool stuff. I also plan to kind of break down my process on how I did that in this video. But before I get into that, I kind of just wanted to give you guys an update on what's been going on in my life. Well, for starters, I am about to graduate college next week, which is super crazy. A lot of the reasons as to why my channel was a little more inactive and stuff like that is just because I was very busy with school, improving my art, my animation skills, and learning new skills. I think with everything I've learned, I'm very much excited to make new content showcasing all the stuff that I have learned and will continue to learn. You guys have seen a lot of the animations I've worked on. I'm saying a lot. I do not want this in the video. But yeah, you guys have been seeing a lot of the animations I've been working on, such as missing parts, and I also showcased like which parts I did in it specifically, whether it was animation or compositing. I just finished another animation for my school project. It was actually my thesis. I worked on it with 4 other people. They're all fantastic, amazing animators, and I'm just so glad I got to work with them. Hopefully we can tidy up some stuff, fix some sound mixing and voice type of stuff, and we can have it uploaded onto my channel by next month. I think you guys will be really excited to see what I have going on for that. That's what's going on in my life. I'm about to graduate college. I'm currently trying to look around, see what I could do in the animation market job sphere. I'm trying to expand my skills and learn not only 2D animation but compositing and visual effects. I also want to see if I can get into motion graphics, so I'm learning a lot of new stuff, or at least I want to learn a lot of new stuff. God willing, things will work out really well. I have 2 big projects that I would love to work on. For example, like, I know Chaos Control has been in the gutter for the last year, and it's because of these 2 big animated shorts I was working on, Missing Parts and Growing Pains. That's the name of the other project, which I cannot wait to show you guys when it's all said and done and ready to be shown on the internet. But I've just been so busy, I couldn't work on a thing. So, you know, with all of that said, I hope I'm a lot more active on this channel. I can get more frequent uploads going on. Not to say I'm trying to do YouTube full time or anything like that, but I would love for just to be a frequent content poster. I want to post more animations about like my faith and my belief in Jesus Christ and how easy or difficult it honestly has been. And also just talk about my time in college, what that was like, maybe do little short animations on that. But most importantly, like I said, going back because I'm going off topic, Chaos Control, I really want to finish. And when Chaos Control is done, I have a second project in mind that I really want to start up and finish. That one I will most likely need a small team for. You know, I want to do most of the work by myself, right? But I can't do everything on my own. So, you know, I'll have friends along different stages of the animation, like, you know, people helping me out with writing it out, people helping me out with you know, storyboarding, people helping me out with the actual animation process. When it comes to compositing though, I totally want to do like all of that by myself. But I got big plans, and I really hope and pray that I can go through with these and like stick with it. And I'm just glad that I can kind of provide you guys with an update of what's been going on here. It's been really busy, and life is going to be pretty exciting outside of college. You know, with that in mind, let me actually get into the point of this video, which is a little breakdown on how I even made that YouTube intro in the first place. But I hope you guys enjoyed this life update. So, onward to the next part. What you're seeing right here is my After Effects composition and setup for my YouTube intro. You know, the thing that you guys saw at the beginning of the video. This is everything that I did here. But how did we start? So the first thing I did was actually put in the sound effect for the Xbox Series X because that is how my old intro was, and I wanted to keep that in there still. And then the first thing that I added in was actually a solid shape. So I went to Layer, New, I hit Solid, and then I made sure that the color was a black one. So it was a black solid. I added an effect called CC Particle World. You can either go to Effects and Presets to type that in, or I think another way as well is to go into Effect, Simulation, and hit Particle World. But when you get Particle World, it kind of just looks like this. So you have to do a lot of manipulation to get it to how I eventually got it to here, where it bursts outward. I don't know if I'll go too in depth with explaining how I got there. It wasn't anything too crazy. I kind of just messed around a lot with the tool and messed around with the keyframes to get the timing that I wanted. But I do know, like with the birth rate, which is basically determining how many particles you want to come out from the center, I had it set really low, and I think I had it set to 0.3 for the whole thing. Oh no, that's cap. So I had it set to 0.3, and then at the next keyframe I had it set to 0.5, and then at the final one it was set to 3. And then I think another thing I did as well, in order to get the particles from bursting outward to coming back in, the next thing that I did to mess with that was to work with the X position, and not the X position, my bad, the Z positions, the radius and the position of Z. So what that basically did, especially the reverse part, that was when I was messing around with the radius. And also here, actually, how did I do this one? Sometimes you just mess around and you fiddle with it, but if you're looking at the values in the corner, I had it set to a negative. I'm assuming I just increased the value to that point, and that's what helped part of it. And then I also increased the radius from 0 to 1 and then back down to 0. So I think all of those factors did play a part in the effect that I got. And not to mention the last thing I did with the particle world, you know, to change it from the yellow red to the green, that was literally just altering the particle colors and having the setting to birth to death. That's what I did with the particle stuff. And then here, this is the second solid I added. I made a kind of like tealish solid, and then I used a masking tool. You can hit the Alt key on your keyboard. I'm using a Windows laptop, by the way, if you're wondering. I changed it to an ellipse, then I set it to like this, and that's how I was able to make a mask. And then I went into the mask and changed the feathering thing to like 565 pixels. And then to get this really nice glow, I literally just put in 3 keyframes. I used the Easy Ease function. So I set a key in the beginning to go from 0% opacity to 30, and then brought it up to about 70%, and then back down to 30, and it stays like that for the rest of the video. So that's what I did for the solid shapes. That's the first thing. Now, my name, or my YouTube channel name, Salmonades. What exactly did I do here? So it really wasn't too much. It was a couple of effects, and we're going to get into it real quick. We're going to start with the scale. So all I really did was have 2 keyframes. I had the scale set to 0%, and then I had the scale set to 200%. I used the Easy Ease functions. Then I went to this tool here, the graph editor, and I messed around with the timing so I could have my text burst in really quick and then slow off on the second half. So that's how we got that over there. And the glowing effect, that was really just CC Glow, or not CC Glow, it's just called Glow. And I set 3 keyframes, one starting here at the 3-second mark, here at the slightly afterward, and then I set another key to set it back to the original one here. And that's basically what I did for the glow. I also used CC Force Motion Blur for the zoom in. So now we have like a nice little blur effect that happened just to make the motion look nicer versus if it weren't there. To give you an idea, I'm going to turn Force Motion Blur off. That's what you get. So I'm going to do it again. And that's just a smoother transition. Now, for the presents part, how did I get it to pull out under Salmonates? So that really was just like two things. It was a mask. So I literally just had the mask, I set it to invert it, and I had the mask go around presents. And with that in mind, I kind of just altered the shape of the mask each keyframe I set here so that it would always stay in this spot as presents starts to come down. That's how you aren't able to see presents behind the Mina, the MINA, and it only shows up outside of that. Really simple effect here. I really didn't do anything crazy. And that's basically it for this section. That's the text and the animation, the solid shapes. So now we're going to move on to part 2, which is the animation lens flare. We're going to go into Toon Boom. So with Toon Boom, right? I exported my file and I dragged it into here. And in Toon Boom, it kind of just sets each one as an individual frame. And basically, what you're looking for are these two layers that I set here. Kaneda flare. This is what I was looking at here. So the Kaneda flare is used very often in anime, and it's kind of just a very stylized way of showing lens flares or metal reflection, not metal reflections, but like light reflecting and refracting off of metal. It's very stylized, it's very cool looking, and it's often used in very high intense action scenes, but it can be used for more subtle stuff too. So I wanted to use the Kaneda flare technique on my own animation. I kind of just looked at a bunch of references here and then tried to do my own spin on that. The first layer that we started with, I labeled it lens flare, and as you can see here, basically I just drew over the original text and I had it go all across the animation like this. So that's all I did for here. It was very easy. The next part was to do the actual like flare coming from here, the light refracting from the name and stuff. I had it rotate once and I increased the size, just a slight rotation here, and then I simplified it to just simple shapes. And then I decided to cut it out for 3 frames, bring it back, but the lines are not painted in, so it's just an outline. And then it's back in full, spinning, take it out for 2 frames, bring it back. I put in a little wink, because, why not? These are like the little Easter eggs animators like to put in their animation, I end up blacking this out for 2 more frames, bring it back, take it out, bring it back, take it out, and then I do that to kind of just fade the light refracting out. And that's really all I did here. It was very simple. I removed that layer, put in a green screen, and had this go over that, right? I exported it, brought it back into After Effects. I brought the animation here. I used an effect called Key Light Advanced Spill Suppressor, keyed out my green screen, and that's how we were able to get my animation to be in here without the green screen interrupting anything. This is basically 90% of the work. Now, I actually added in some effects onto this pre-compose over here. A couple of things. I added a lens flare effect, and I also added a slider control effect. And we'll start with the lens flare first. I have a lot of keys set on the lens flare, but when my name starts to have like the shine go over it, I used a lens flare effect and basically keyed it out so that it would be timed with the animation. That's why we have all these keys down here. That's why the flare brightness would go up in percent and down and up and down. So it's really just that. It's very simple. And then lastly, the oh my goodness, English. This is the very last thing I did on the animation. I needed the slider control to have a nice little screen shake as my name came in. And that was really just as simple. Well, actually, this one is not as simple. But basically, this is what I did. I went to Effects. I got the slider control. I put 2 slider controls in here. And then I renamed them to Frequency and Amount. After this, in order to get, this screen shake thing that you want, you have to go into transform and you have to hit this wiggle function, the pick width for the position, and then you type in the wiggle effect and you would put in some fake values like wiggle parentheses 2,2. Then you want to remove the 2,2 and just leave the comma in there. And what you want to do is drag the pick width to frequency and then drag the other pick width to amount. And then you have your setup ready. So now you can key out how much shake you want and when you want it to stop. And that's basically what I did here. I mean, this really wasn't meant to be an explanation per se, but just a breakdown of how I made this intro. And with all of that said, that's how you end up with this. Pretty dope and pretty solid, and I hope to keep this for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Maybe you could try something like that out for yourself, and hopefully it goes well for you. Hope you all have a wonderful afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you may be in. God be with you, and have a blessed day.